Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the college basketball edition of Proline, direct from Las Vegas, the gaming capital of the world. I'm John Cranton, joined by Vegas cappers Jeff Sott and Zach Simony. Going to take a look at 4 college basketball games coming up this weekend. Friday game, as well as a couple of ACC games over the weekend, and a Conference USA game. Let's get right into it, guys. We have a Friday night game where Arizona is playing Washington. This is a Pac-12 game where Arizona's first in the conference, and this is the only meeting of the season. They did play last year. Arizona won at home 71-62, and it was a defensive game as both teams shot just 42%. Arizona was 2 of 9 from long range, and Washington was 2 of 12. At the time, Washington was a pretty good rebounding team, but that's really not the case this season. They've got some suspensions and some problems up front with them. Robert Upshaw, the 7-footer, was having a great season. He was booted from the team 4 games ago, so that is a major problem. And they haven't been winning either. 0-5 straight up run, 3-9 over the last 12 games. They're not covering numbers either. 4-9 ATS. So Jeff, I mean, is this going to be their game of the year Friday night, or is this a team that has pretty much packed it in?
I think they packed it in. After watching the Arizona State game last week, which I was wrong on the show, I'm surprised Arizona State has won more games and Arizona has won as many as they have, because Arizona played terrible defense. They were outshot 50 to 45%, and the home court helped. Arizona State made 14 more free throws, but Arizona still 20-3 straight up, 13-10 against the spread, 3-4 against the spread on the road. They bounced back with easy wins the last 2 times they've lost, when they lost to UNLV and Oregon State. Washington's lost 5 in a row and ties the longest losing streak since Lorenzo Romar became the coach. Huskies played about as bad as you can versus Oregon State. That was a 20-star play for me, Oregon State. Washington was 3 for 15 from the three-point line, made 22 turnovers, even though they had 4 guards in the game most of the time. So they're 14-9 straight up, 10-12 against the spread, 1-4 against the spread last 5 games. Their NCAA hopes are down the drain. So now we got Arizona State, and then they go on the road for 3 games. So they really don't show a lot of heart this year. They've had a lot of transfers and injuries and everything, but earlier in the season, they lost to Stanford. They blew a game on the road against Stanford in overtime. And then they played them again at home. You think it would be a big revenge game. They come out fired up. After a few minutes, they were down by 20 points. So I'm not sure this Washington team is, as you said, I think they have packed it in for the season. So I'll go with Arizona in this matchup, John.
All right, Arizona, 20 wins and 3 losses. They'll be covering games, too, a nice 10-5 spread run. However, as you mentioned, that last game on Friday, they did lose to rival Arizona State. They didn't play any defense, gave up 81 points. Arizona State shot 50% from the field, 7 of 15 from long range. Those Arizona State fans rushed the court again, 2nd straight year. It's getting to be a habit for them. So, Zach, you were on that first half over in that game. I'm wondering about this Arizona team. Do they just play to the level of the competition?
They do a little bit, but when you're in conference play, you're going to have 3 to 4 games like that, and ASU knows Arizona well, and Arizona knows ASU well. Playing twice a year in the Pac-12. 2-hour drive up to Wells Fargo Arena, a little earlier start time than usual for Pac-12 game. It was 12:30, 1 o'clock, so a lot of different variables in that game. This Friday game's going to be at nighttime. Both teams are well rested, and like you said, Washington's had a lot of issues offensively. Earlier in the year, they were able to keep that in check because their defense was keeping them in games with Upshaw in there. He was the leading shot blocker in the NCAA. I think he had 4 blocks a game. They have steady guard play with Williams-Goss and the other, what's his name, Adams or something like that. Probably got his name wrong, but they've got some good guards, but they're not offensive oriented, and that's where they're starting to struggle in Pac-12 play, because Pac-12 is all about run and gun. A lot of teams can score. And Arizona's one of them. I think in that game against ASU, I think they had too many poor shot selections from their big men, Rondé Hollis Jefferson, Tarwitsky, and the other guys. They were just putting up shots I haven't seen them do all year, and that's what happens when another team is just running and gunning. You get in a pattern trying to match them, and they just weren't able to do it. ASU was hot shooting. They were spreading the court, really playing a different style than they have all year defensively, and they were able to get them at home in that game. But like I said, Washington, they're struggling, and I think ASU or Arizona has the big men to contain them, obviously. And last year they lost a key scorer, Wilcox. Upshaw's gone. And Andrew Andrews is the guy the guard for Washington. I knew I could get his name. But Arizona Friday, I think they're going to be focused. This is the point of the year where you have to look at quality teams and figure out where they're going to be for seeding. I think right now Arizona's borderline 3 seed, potential 2 seed. Where they're at right now, they need to focus on getting in the upper echelon, maybe get past a team like Louisville, those two seed teams that are locked in right now. And they don't want to be a 3rd seed. That's a tough seed to have in that Sweet 16 matchup when you're playing one of those top tier seeds in that Sweet 16. You don't want that. You want to hopefully get to the Elite 8 before you face a matchup like that. So I think Sean Miller, he got that contract extension for a reason. He's one of the better coaches in college basketball, and he's always working hard. I actually ran into him in the summer recruiting out here in Summerlin.
He was looking for you?
No. He was moving fast paced, but I said hi to him real quick. But it's coaches like that, he's able to get them refocused and dialed in. And I think this is a winnable game. Like you said, Washington, sort of like Colorado, they're one of those Pac-12 teams that was in the mid-tier maybe 5-6 weeks ago, but they're spiraling downward, and I think we can take them Friday and get a nice win before the Saturday big slate.
Yeah, I can't back Washington here, a team that's 4-10 against the spread in Pac-12 play. What Arizona can do defensively, they get back to it, is that pressing, attacking defense that's very good at forcing turnovers. And this Washington team in their last game, 22 turnovers in that defeat. Throw in the rebounding edge for Arizona, the bounce back factor for the Wildcats. I mean, look at the 2 losses that Arizona had this season. What did they do the next game? Well, they crushed Oregon State after their first loss, 73-49, covering easily as a 14-point favorite. And then the next time they lost, they bounced back and beat Colorado 68-54. So that's I think it's a very good bounce back spot and a good matchup spot as well. So I will bet Arizona as well. All right, before we get to a couple of ACC games, if you want to go to the website, see that basketball in the lower left-hand corner. You can click on that. That's a link to JimFeist.com. You can get plays daily from Jeff, Zach, Jim Feist, and all the guys. Plus, if you want to send a question to the ProLine panel, just go to Twitter at JimFeist.com as well as Facebook at ProLine TV, and we'll try to answer your question. Okay.